On this episode of CYT, we are going to chat about quite possibly one of the most powerful forces on Earth, mothers. With Mother's Day on the horizon, we are going to cover what makes for a great mother, the struggles facing mothers today, and some of our favorite mothers in pop culture. I'm Sean Millhouse,
And I'm Jason LeCompte.
and this is Collect Your Thoughts. Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about the White Lotus background you have going on behind you? Are you on set with Mike White right now? Or like
No. So is not a White Lotus background. This has been my background for the last several episodes, by the way.
Okay.
So, gosh, did you not notice before in other episodes?
I'm sure I did. That just stands out to me today.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna be like, Jason, you're being a total typical dude.
It's a combination between like your shirt maybe or something about the 5 o'clock shadow you got going today, and the like you giving like Patrick Schwarzenegger vibes or something. I don't know. Like I'm
Well, thank you guys for joining us. It's been a pleasure. Remember to take a deep breath.
Sean is retiring at this point.
Gosh, me and Patrick Schwarzenegger, we're in the same league. We're in the same category. All around.
Yep.
God.
Yep.
Ugh, he was so
And
good
now we're
in that.
fantasizing about Patrick Schwarzenegger.
Sorry, I'm just like, what? Because he endeared me so much during the promo for that he really showed that he's not that character. And so that to me is always something that I love when you can see that in an actor, is that they are so different from their
100%.
their role. And
I don't know if that was on purpose or if that was a publicist move or whatever, but it was really brilliant because we loved him going into that, and they were like, oh my God, what a freaking douche. But also, no, wait, we love him. Yeah, it was excellent. It was really excellent.
Yes. I mean, this will be a great segue, I think, but you did mention White Lotus, and White Lotus season 4 is about to start filming or is filming currently. And we did find out, Jason and I were huge fans of the White Lotus, which I think we've talked about on this show before.
Big fans.
And we were also very sad to hear that Helena Bonham Carter, who is going to be on the show, apparently has opted not to be in it. And so they had to retool her character. And so, of course, we were like, oh, damn, that really sucks. However, about less than a week later, Laura Dern has been announced as the replacement. And
who apparently they're like besties. Yeah.
Yes, they have a long
I didn't know. They were
together.
super close. Yeah.
I really want to watch her show Enlightened. I heard that was a great show. I heard it was really intense, and it's also a Mike White show. It's on HBO. So I'll have to get into that. Laura Dern she's a treasure. And I would also say she is mother. And so I really thought, in saying all this about mothers, we do have Mother's Day coming up this weekend. Like, it's coming. It is almost here. And so with that in mind, I thought, let's do an episode about mothers and what.
Love it. Here for it.
I think mothers are some of the most interesting people, period. And because of all the things that are expected of them, the responsibilities they hold, I think all the things that they are often against.
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt.
Yeah.
Interesting is just not the adjective I would give for mothers. Heroic.
Oh, well, I mean,
epic.
Getting there.
I mean, multitaskers. I mean, okay, all right. I just didn't want you to let you get away with interesting. They are super cool. No, they are fucking incredible. They're fucking incredible. Mothers are incredible. So let's just start there.
Yes, fair.
Fair.
However, before we jump into the main collection of
Mm.
Mothers and Mother's Day, I wanted to continue what we started at our last episode and really talk about some good news.
Mm.
And that leads us to a New York Times headline that came out recently that announced that youth suicides declined after the creation of the national hotline 988. So, just to give a little background, over the 2.5 years following the 2022 rollout of the 988 National Suicide Prevention Hotline, the rate of suicides among young people in the United States dropped 11% below projections, decreasing most sharply in states with a higher volume of answered 988 calls, a new study has found. And that
Direct
to
correlation.
yes,
Direct correlation. The higher the use, the higher and the lower the suicides. Yes.
yes, and
Yeah.
what was really great about this article too, I really recommend if anybody can read it, is that they really went into the methodology to make sure it wasn't because of other things that has shifted, like, or
They
other
controlled really
reasons for
well.
that.
Yeah. They controlled for
Yes.
variables really, really well. Yeah. I read
Yes.
through it. Yeah.
Yeah, and so, uh, with the fact that this has happened, I remember when they rolled this out, I remember thinking, about fucking time. Like, I just it shocked
Yeah.
my mind
Yeah.
that there wasn't one. And most countries that are what's the right I never know the right word for
Fucking
that.
civilized, Sean. Civilized. That's the word you're looking for.
That is definitely it wasn't the word, but it is now the word.
It is, yes.
Yes. Fully like, first world countries, which that sounds so gross to say. I definitely don't
No,
think we
yeah,
feel
no.
first.
Yeah.
I think we're third.
Industrialized, developed, like
Industrialized,
whatever those
developed.
words.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. The fact that, it took us that long to get that really is ridiculous, but hey, we did it. So
Right.
anyway, with that being said, they said from, basically the findings that were published compared suicide deaths from July 2022 to December 2024
Mhm.
with very sophisticated mathematical projections that were based on historical trends, which yielded the good news that 4,372 fewer suicides of adolescents and young adults ages 15 to 34 that had been projected.
Yep.
And basically, the findings were striking that the 10 states with the largest increases in 988 calls experienced an 18.2% reduction in observed suicides compared with expected suicides. In the 10 states with the lowest uptake, the reduction was smaller, 10.6%. So, I mean, that's a big, almost
Can we
8
put it?
percentage points.
Let's put just some hard numbers. Just the numbers that you were talking about.
Yeah.
And if you want to change it over to, so if it's almost 20% reduction, for 4,000, like that, the 20%, to add 20% to that, right?
Yeah.
So add another 1,200, so 50. So there could have been 5,500. So I just love that we can put hard numbers to this, and they've controlled for and yeah, it's great. Yeah. That's my comment. It's great. It's worthy. It's necessary. It saves lives, thousands and thousands of lives. Yes.
Because not most, but a lot of people can't necessarily afford ongoing therapy. Also, crises happen in between all the hours in between your therapy appointment and the next one. And so having this hotline, I think, just has given accessibility to those in need in a way that probably felt out of reach before. And that to me is really powerful. Um, the one, of course, I have to bring a little reality to this, which is not gonna, take away from the entire thing, but is something I also feel deeply. When this came out, I was deeply upset about it. But last summer, the Trump administration terminated one element of the hotline, the Press 3 option, which was for LGBTQ plus callers. The Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration said that the Press 3 option was being discontinued because it had exhausted its funding from Congress and that the hotline would focus on serving all help seekers. Of course, Jason, we know from working with all kinds of people that different people have different needs. and different groups have different intensities of pressure, of discrimination, of so many things
Yeah.
that it's important to have distinctive resources for groups that are in the most danger,
One of the
right?
most one of the most risky categories. I can't tell you the number of times that I've been told by a queer patient of mine that they are so grateful that they have a queer therapist.
Yes, same.
There's an understanding, right? We understand what culture is like, the pressures, the risks, that we just get it because we literally
Yeah,
live it every single day. So there's no explanation needed, right? There's
right.
just a deeper understanding, a deeper connection. So yeah, it's a very, very important piece of this. Very important, not variable. What's the word I'm looking for? Um, I don't know, option to have, I guess,
Yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
serve those populations. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. Of course, advocacy groups and policymakers did protest this decision. However, in a recent testimony, Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said that his agency was planning to restore the Press 3 option.
Mhm.
However, that has not happened yet. So we'll see if talk is cheap or if there's anything actually behind that. One of the doctors they interviewed for this article said that his group had become curious about measuring the program's effectiveness after Press 3 was eliminated. And while call volume and satisfaction surveys suggested that 9-8 was succeeding, he said the harder question was, did the creation of this 988 program, the transition from the old hotline to this hotline, actually move the needle on suicide mortality?
Mm.
So that is to be determined. And I guess we'll have to wait and see. But it is obviously something that is very concerning. But in the end, the victory is this is something that's helping people. And I'm so glad that we have people, journalists, making sure that this stuff is not getting buried amongst all of the treacherous shit that is out there right now. So,
Yeah. And
yes.
for at least the 300 or 400 members of Congress that listen to our podcast, fund SAMHSA, you jerks.
Oh, I just want to
The
say, go
substance
fuck
abuse,
yourselves.
well, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Association, like, it does really, really important work. It
Yes.
governs aspects of our lives that we don't even realize. It contributes in ways to research and developments and things like this that literally save lives. If you're a member of Congress, somebody in a position of authority, and you can put funds towards things that save lives, please do it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe
The
we don't
end.
need to like have 17 more Gigantor aircraft carriers for war, but that's
Right.
just me, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, that is our good news of the week. And we
Woo-hoo.
are just, yeah. And also, shout out to all of the crisis hotline workers out there. I
Mhm.
definitely don't think that they get enough credit, period. That is incredibly hard work as somebody that once upon a time had to be involved in mental health crises very often. It's exhausting, it's scary, it's overwhelming, but also it is truly some of the most rewarding work when you know you just help somebody, and then if you're lucky, which I have been fortunate, I've actually run into some of those people that were like, "I remember you helping me in that moment, and
Mm.
you saved my life that day." And I ooh, like that's the sentence that you're just like, "I didn't know that I would ever hear that sentence, but, like, holy shit. Well, wow." So, anyway, thank
But
you,
that's the
crisis
significance of
workers.
someone. Yeah, that's the significance of
Yes.
someone showing up in a moment of crisis. It's a literal difference between life and death. So, yeah.
Yes. Yes. All right. So, getting into this week's collection, as we noted earlier, we are talking about moms, mothers, and the experience of what it's like to be a mom, from two men have mothered for sure. We definitely know everything
Mm.
about it. So really this is definitely much more, I would say, a dissection of understanding what we do in our work involving mothers, also the complicated nature
Mm.
of parent-child dynamics with mothers, but
Mm-hmm.
also a celebration of all things that they do every single day and maybe some of our takes on it. But before we get into that, I thought it'd be really interesting because I was curious to figure out some of the history around Mother's Day, just real briefly.
Oh, sure.
So, historically, celebrations of mothers apparently can be traced back to ancient Greeks and Romans who held festivals in honor of mother goddesses like Rhea and
Mm,
Cybele.
right.
And then in the United Kingdom and parts of Europe, the tradition of Mothering Sunday, as it's called, emerged during the Middle Ages. And originally, this fell on the fourth Sunday in Lent and was a time when the faithful would return to their mother church, the main church in their area, for a special service. However, over time, it shifted into a more secular holiday where children would present their mothers with flowers and small gifts. So
Hmm.
then in the American side of things, how it became what it has become here, there are three influential women who really helped make Mother's Day a thing. The first is Anne Reeves Jarvis, who in the mid 19th century organized Mother's Day work clubs to teach local women how to properly care for their children. Following the Civil War, she organized Mother's Friendship Day to promote reconciliation between former Union and Confederate soldiers. Which I just want to pause on that because I frequently think about where we're at in our current time in history. And I am most one of the things I'm most curious about is how do we repair this rift somehow, some way? And I always wonder, like throughout history, what have people done to try and amend the divisions in our world, in our countries? And so to hear that this is one of the ways, it sounds like, for people to find a way to reconcile, I think was just really interesting. Had no idea that this was a part of that. Like it would involve somebody who was, you know, doing
Yeah.
things for mothers. I thought that was really
Yeah.
interesting.
No, that is interesting. Yeah. I almost didn't know where you were going. And then I'm like, oh, yeah.
I
So,
could see on your face. I was like,
yeah, I was like,
he's like not clocking
I'm
it.
listening. I don't know that I have any more to
Yeah,
say about
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Just,
No,
yeah.
no, no.
Yeah.
Just yeah, I just thought it was cool. Another person, Julia Ward Howe, in 1870. Howe, best known for writing the Battle Hymn of the Republic, wrote the Mother's Day Proclamation, and this was a call to action that asked mothers to unite in promoting world peace. Which again, beautiful. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Now, here's a little twist. Anna Jarvis, who is the daughter of Anne Reeves Jarvis,
Mm,
she is considered the founder of the official holiday. Following her mother's death in 1905, she conceived of Mother's Day as a way of honoring the sacrifices mothers made for their children, which,
hmm,
again, no idea.
yeah.
However, what's really interesting about the kind of plot twist about this is that after years of campaigning, Anna Jarvis successfully saw the holiday gain traction. And then in May 1908, she organized the first official Mother's Day service at Andrews Methodist Episcopal Church in Grafton, West Virginia. And then by 1911, all US states observed the holiday. And in 1914, President Woodrow Wilson signed a proclamation officially establishing the second Sunday in May as Mother's Day. However, here's the interesting part. Anna Jarvis, who did all this work to try and make this happen, then spent the later years of her life fighting against the holiday she created because she was appalled by the commercialization of the holiday
Oh,
for what the floral and greeting card industries basically did to it, and was eventually staging protests and even
oh
getting
my
arrested
gosh.
for disturbing the
Wow.
peace while fighting to have the holiday rescinded. So I
Oh,
love
that's brutal.
it is because I mean, I do feel like that is something, especially younger people that interact with in our work and just in my life, I guess, is oftentimes the eye rolling of holidays of being like,
Yeah.
yeah, this is just capitalism at work. Like we're not focused on the thing. I mean, we have this argument with Christmas, we have it with you know, Easter, we have it with I think any holidays that's become a reason to spend money.
Sure.
which is very smart of a business person to come up with. However, that would be
I mean, it's the
really
free market capitalism. That's how it works, right? We see a need and we
yes.
fill it. Yeah.
Yes. But also, I thought like, wow, she like built this thing to like honor her mother and all mothers, and then she was like,
And
"Fuck
then it
this,
became
I'm gonna tear it
so
down."
commercial that she hated it. Yeah. That sucks.
So, Anna Jarvis, God love ya. Hope you're at peace.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, so I just wanted to share that because I just thought it was really, I don't know, interesting little factoids. But
Yeah. Yeah.
in talking about mothers and celebrating mothers, Jason, what are some of the best qualities that you
Mm.
have witnessed in mothers that not just mothers, but all of us, including men,
Hmm.
can try to embody? Like what comes up for you?
I think some of the women that I most admire for being mothers and the way that they parent their children is it's almost like I'm trying to come up with like some kind of metaphor, but like in my head, in my imagination, like there's this it's like guardrails, or like a
Mm,
soft soft wicker basket that you can sort of get in and out of. I don't know.
sorry,
Like it
that's such
just
a
go
great
with just
visual.
go with me. It's just go with me. It's a big soft wicker basket, right? That they provide for their children to give
It's an
them
Easter
this.
basket.
Right. It's not, no, it's a mother basket. Uh
Sorry.
Sorry. So here's okay. Let's just distill it down with the qualities then. So I think some of the best parenting that I've seen from mothers and other caregivers is really about creating the safety, the consistency, the environment in which children feel they're safest. There's this wonderful adage that's kind of going around where it says when children are being completely silly and weird around you, it's actually a really good sign because they
Yes.
feel they're safest to be themselves, right?
Yep.
And it's something that we admire about children, about how they just sort of live in their bodies, and there's no sort of rules about how to behave, or all that kind of stuff, right? So like so like I think the best parents, the best mothers create these environments where their children know the rules, they know how to be safe.
Yeah.
But they feel safe enough to test their limits,
Yeah.
and they know that when they fall down or they make a mistake, they can come back to that parent and have it be put into perspective, right? Have their boo-boos kissed, have everything be put right again, so that they feel again safe enough to go out into the world and be a person, right? That's literally what we're trying to do with Sean. This is why I have such a soft spot for children. because they're precious and they're just trying to understand their place in the world, right?
Yeah.
And so when we do it right, that's what it looks like. They go out, they fall down, they come back, they get it right. And so that's what mothers do. And I mean, I've been really privileged enough to have some outstanding mothers in my life that I get to witness be parents to their children in that way. And I
Yeah.
just love it. I just love it. Yeah.
What I loved about everything you just said is that outside of like the notes that we create about the episodes, Jason and I, we don't really go over like what we're exactly going to say. And
Mm-mm.
literally, the number one thing I was going to mention was that mothers provide safety. There
Oh,
is
yeah.
because when I was thinking about it, I was like, even with my own growing up experience, my dad, I always felt protected, but with my mom, I felt safe. I mean, I felt safe with my dad
Mm.
too, but I feel like there's a
No, that's a great nuance
distinction.
to call out. Yeah.
Yes, is that my dad was like the force holding the door, but my mom was the one grounding us and providing that emotional safety.
Mhm. Yeah.
And so I think a lot of mothers provide that role. I really
Mm.
think that safety piece is so important, which is I think also part of why like I think there's a real truth to like what's it called? Like mama's boys. I'm one of them. Because I
Yep.
do think there's just something different. There's something moms and their sons, there's
Mhm.
this. there's just adoration. Like, you kind of feel like a rock star with a mom that loves you.
For sure.
Like, you
For
just
sure.
kind of feel like, I am a gift, and you know it, and I know it.
I am a gift.
At your most, like, full of yourself, you know? Anyway. And so,
It's your most confident in yourself.
Yes,
You're most grounded, right?
My
You're
biggest fan,
safest.
right?
Yeah,
You know?
sure.
Like,
yeah.
I think mothers are oftentimes the very first fan of you, and they're the ones who are championing the things you're interested in. They're the ones listening. They're, you know, I think that these roles have shifted a lot as I think men have evolved in their definition of what it means to be a father. Thank goodness. But also, women have been holding it down for all time in that way. And, you know, I just, that's part of the reason why I wanted to talk about this, is because it is such a unique relationship. And also, I mean, just to be completely obvious, it's the reason we're here. Like, we could not be here without mothers, literally.
That's right.
And
that's right.
Using literally right.
Yes, that is correct.
Yes.
Also, while we're in the middle of it, hey, Linda, what's up? How are
you? Linda. Linda's doing good because Linda's got back from a beach trip, so she's doing great.
Oh, sweet.
Yes, because she just had a big birthday. I won't say her age because I know that's not appropriate, but you should be very proud of the age you are, Linda. I love you.
Yes, of course.
Anyway, so I'm also curious because as much as we, you know, we're talking about all these great things, we work with mothers. We see the common challenges every day that they're facing. And of course, it's not just about being a mother. That's just one part of it. However, it's the role that you can't ever shut off. It's not something that you ever turn off. Like, I've heard from so many mothers and read about it where it's like, after you have children, there's always this part of you, now that this is this thing that you created is outside of your body, you will always have part of your mind wondering how they're doing. And I think that's so moving to think about, but also like, how exhausting. Like, because you're just constantly like, I hope they're okay. I don't know how to I have to trust that I did what I did.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But in saying all that, what are some of the common challenges that you've witnessed and the moms that you have worked with?
Common challenges in terms of like mental health issues?
I mean, yeah, just in general, like, you know, with the women that you have met who are mothers, what are the things that you feel like they're up against, that they talk about, that you see in their work, you know?
Yeah.
Because I think it's important to like flesh that out. They're not just moms.
For sure. But I think that's in essence where the problem lies, is especially in I'll just speak for American culture, U.S. culture. Sure. There's this expectation on women in general to not only become mothers, but also then to be amazing at everything else and not just being a mother. They have to be put together and they have to have a career and their house needs to be clean and they have to be in shape. And talk to any woman in the US, they understand the plethora of like men, comparatively speaking, in this context, so fucking low. So like we get away with so much shit comparatively that women just don't get a break in those regards, right? So that in itself is probably the biggest challenge that I see with women who are mothers, is they feel like they still need to maintain everything, be perfect across the board. There's no room for leniency. Everything gets blamed on the mother when there's an issue with the child, like not everything, but many things, right?
Oh yeah.
So all of those pressures are intrinsic to that role. And then let's layer on everything else that our culture says has to be a part of a woman's life.
Yeah.
It's impossible. It's an impossible task. Yeah. And it creates obviously tension, and it creates relationship issues, and it creates anxiety and depression, blah, blah, blah. All the things that people come to see therapists for. It creates those things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else? Of the 17 million things that I mentioned, which one did I leave out, Sean? Do you have
I mean, another is I really think so much of it, which I know this is a huge part of our work with all clients, but definitely I see this with the mothers I work with. It's validation, is
Ooh,
basically
yeah.
going,
Credit,
hey,
getting
whoa, whoa,
credit.
whoa, whoa. You aren't giving yourself enough credit. B,
Yeah.
you are, like, for lack of a better word, killing yourself trying to be the best of all things because of society, because of the patriarchy, because of all the
Yeah.
stupid crap out there. While, how many times like a dad does the dad picked up the kid from school today. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. A mom does that, and like
Okay.
it's
And right.
crickets, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and so I feel like so much of it is being like, A, no, you're not crazy. B, here's all the reasons everyone else needs to get their shit together, and I'm
Right.
validating that to you. And
Right.
C, what are you going to do to take care of yourself? Because as we know, I think mothers are maybe one of the most guilty groups of struggling to put themselves anywhere in their top 5.
Yeah.
Because that has always been the thing is you must always put everyone before you. You must make sure all this shit comes first. However, I think as we know in our work, if you don't honestly put yourself first in some situations, some of the time you burn out, you get resentment, you feel like you're dying inside, and you get better at mothering and everything else in your life when you take care of yourself and you put yourself as a priority. And I feel like that's such a thing that I want all mothers to hear is like prioritize yourself. Like you of all people need this, and you need a support system that helps you create that. And of course, that's also part of it is like, how can we help them communicate with their people about what their needs are and how to get that? And if they can't get that, then what's the next step, which can be really tricky.
I'm chuckling because as you were describing those pressures and the reality of it, like I started to stop breathing. I started to get short of breath, like, oh my God. Like I was in it. I was in it for a second. And I'm like, oh shit. It's so real. Like it's palpable when
Yeah.
you start to
Yeah.
lay it all out like that, because the reality is it is overwhelming. And let's go back to how we started this conversation. It's a 24/7 job. It literally doesn't stop.
See,
So
okay, so I'm
you're
glad you
right. You
said that.
do have to. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So it was Shonda Rhimes, her book, The Year of Yes.
Yeah.
She mentions, which is a great book. I highly recommend it. Audiobook is really great too. She's a
Writer,
great storyteller.
director,
Yes, the
author,
creator of
Scandal,
Grey's Anatomy,
Bridgerton,
Scandal,
Grey's Anatomy.
Bridgerton. Yes, Shonda Land.
She's
Yes.
absolutely epic in terms of her. Yes. Just wanted
Incredible
to make sure everybody knew who
powerhouse.
she was. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Jason.
Yeah.
And in that book, though, she basically was like, I kind of resent, I don't think, not kind of, she resents when people say, it's the hardest job you'll ever have. She's like, this is not a job. You choose this for yourself. You
Right.
do not, a job, you can go home, you can stop, you can
Right. It's
say,
a
like,
role.
I'm clocking
Yeah.
out. This is
Yeah.
a role. And that's why every
Yeah.
time I will do it in a kind way, but I will usually push back when a mom says like, "Oh, it's the most important job," and I'm like, "Well, actually, like it's all the time. Like that's not a job. A job is like, oh, I have to do this. It's voluntary. Yes, you volunteer to do this, but like once
Yeah.
you're in, the expectations you're in for life. And of
Right.
course, like
Right.
we know there's scenarios where that doesn't work out, and that's not that's another conversation for another day. But I do think that that is so important because yeah, you can't just hang up the hat. You can't. It's always on for the rest of your life. And damn, that's commitment on the highest level to decide to be a parent and especially a mother.
Right. I really, really enjoy my role as an uncle because the kids go back to their parents.
Correct.
Right? I get to have fun. I get to spoil them. I get to, I mean, sometimes even pick them up and kiss their boo-boos, but also they're going home at the end of the day, right? Or week or whatever it is. So yes, that's just it's not a role that I chose for myself. And I'm okay with that. And I don't envy parents. I say that all the time to parents to their faces. I do not envy the role that you are in. And I admire the shit out of it. It's incredible. It's such an important job to do. It's in such an
Everything.
important role to have, right? Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Yes. Now, are there jobs within the role of motherhood? Of course, but
Sure.
like also those aren't all the time. So anyway, that's
Right.
just semantics at this point.
Yeah.
Also, I think we would be missing a crucial point by not also talking about the complicated nature of our clients that come in, and at the root of a lot of their stuff is sometimes their relationships with their mothers and how that has impacted how they have grown into the world, how they parent their own children, what they're trying to basically figure out how to take the good from that, but then also how to not let maybe the parts that felt like scars or judgment that can come from the relationship of parent child, especially mother child.
Yeah.
Like it's so complicated. And I'm
Yeah.
curious if you can recount anything that you've seen in your clients when they're talking about their mommy issues. Can I also
Well,
say, I just sorry, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
I was just gonna. I thought this would be a great time to introduce our special guest, Dr. Sigmund Freud, who's going to speak to this particular. No, I mean, yeah, the relationship that we have with our mother and where it goes sideways, like it is the root of many things. It's
Yeah.
almost become kind of cliche or kind of
Yes.
rote on popular media, right? Where
Yeah.
if something goes really sideways in early childhood for a young male, then they become a serial killer because of their
Yeah.
terrible relationship with their mother, right? Like, okay,
Yes.
let's not put all of that pressure on mothers. Like, it
Correct.
doesn't have to. That's serious pathology, I mean, it's anything. It's anything from grief to who they choose to date, to how those relationships go, right? The course, the arc of that relational dynamic.
Mhm.
To, I mean, it's too many things to name, right?
Right.
That the relationships are those relationships are foundational.
Yeah.
That's the way that I talk about
Yes.
parenting with parents of kids of any stage, right? Whether they're new or whether they're teenagers or whether their kids are in their middle age.
Mhm.
It's the role of parent. You're right. The role of parent doesn't end, but it changes
It
over
does.
time. And foundationally, we need certain things in order to become healthy, functional adults. And so anytime those things get missed, and sometimes this is through no fault of anybody's, right?
Right.
A parent can become injured, can die, can lose their job, and then become unwell themselves. And so then
Yeah.
the impact is felt in the entire family system.
Yes.
So it doesn't really like it's not, there's no blame to go around, right? Of course, people make mistakes and should know better and do have response, right? But at some point as adults, we just need to be able to go, oh, okay, maybe this did happen in my childhood or in my adolescence. Maybe this was a formative wound that I have a real responsibility for now. I can't just point fingers and say, you fucked me up, mom. Like you need to change you
Yes.
need to change yourself and you need to
Yeah.
fix
Yeah.
me. No, you're 30 years old. You need to go to therapy. You need to get some medication. You need to figure out your own shit, right? That to me. So if I'm gonna distill it down,
Mhm.
that'll be the thing I'm gonna walk away with from that question is parents have responsibility
Mhm.
until a certain point, and then as an adult, we become responsible. Our parents are. I say every single one of us walks away from our childhood with some kind of damage,
Of
some
course.
kind of bump, some kind of bruise, right? Hopefully 90+% of it is all really good and we've been formed into healthy adults and we can go function and figure out the world on our own, right?
Mhm.
And we're going to have some shit left over that we're
Yeah.
going to have to wrestle with. We're going to have to take on in the hopes that we become healthier and more functional and that we don't
Yes.
pass on any generational trauma to the people around us or even to our own offspring. So that's, to me, that's what it comes down to. It can be anything and everything. And then also you need to grab onto it and fix it as
Yeah.
an adult, right? Yeah.
Yes. I think the relationships I see struggle the most is when mothers of their children who are now mothers don't know how to shift that role to allow their kid to be the leader of their own way of doing things.
Yeah.
I've witnessed this so many times where moms, meaning well, will say, "Oh, well, you should do it like this," or "Well, why do you have to do it like that?" Like I know a lot of modern moms are like, "We have a very set schedule, and when we go off schedule, it makes it harder for our kid. It makes it harder for all of us. So we have to abide by this." And then I've heard some now grandmothers push back and be like, "Oh, are you just being a little difficult? Are you, you're just, blah, blah, blah." It's very old school way of thinking of being like, listen, we didn't do that stuff for you guys. So maybe you're just making it more difficult, which is like, no, 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 no. You raise this to a point. You can have an
Yeah.
opinion. You don't have to share it.
Uh-huh.
And also just support me. Like you raised me to hopefully be a relatively competent person.
Yeah.
Now give me the space to do that. And if you don't agree with it, guess what? That's life. I'm not running over to tell you all the things that you should be doing differently, hopefully. And you got
See,
to
to me,
own like sitting back, you know?
I think that's where, and maybe this is too much of a nuance for this conversation, but I think that's where role gets fused with identity.
Oh, yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
really difficult thing for a lot of people who
Mhm.
are not aware of, right? The fact that they are performing a role, and yes, they will always be mother to that new mother,
Mhm.
but their identity is not now mother. Their
Right.
identity is now grandmother, which is a
Yes.
consultant, which is a friend, which is
Yeah.
a babysitter, which is right, like another caregiver, an
Yes.
influential, safe adult in that new child's
Yes.
life. But they are no longer parenting the new offspring. They have to be able to step back from that, and that is a really difficult thing.
It's really hard, I bet.
Fusing role with identity is a really tough thing especially in our culture.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. And I
Yeah.
think especially, yeah, because of the pressure of you never stop being a mother. While I feel like there's kind of this expectation of dads of like, yep, we somehow at 18. I don't know why all my voices are always like, I always sound like some fisherman that's about to like, I don't know, like plot a murder of a small town. Like,
Oh my
I don't know,
God.
God ran those kids. I don't know.
Not only that, a Scooby-Doo villain fisherman. That's what you're describing.
Oh, I'm
That's
here
that
for
voice.
it.
That's very good. Yeah.
I will say though, one of
Mm.
my, you know me, I do love,
Mm-hmm.
we both do. We love a good pun. We like something kind of silly and stupid, little dad
Mm-hmm.
humor. And the
Sure.
only reason I'm saying that is because I will, when it's appropriate in the right time with clients, go when they're talking about things with their mom, I will go, well, if it's not one thing, it's your mother. But
Uh, a pun
it's
and
so
a therapist joke.
stupid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly. No, that's what,
Mm-hmm.
when I first heard that from somewhere, I was just like, "Oh, that's so stupid." I love it.
You have to wait until you're in your 40s, though, to start saying jokes like that. So hopefully it's only been a
Mm.
recent thing for you.
Well, it looks like I've been in my 40s for about the last 20 years. So, whoopsie. All
Mm,
right. Well, let's talk about maybe some of the favorite mothers that are in our lives, but also maybe in greater culture. When
mm.
you think about great moms, who do you think about? Who you kind of alluded to it that you are lucky enough to know many great mothers. Like, tell me about maybe some of them that come up for you.
Oh, well, I'm gonna call them out right now, and if they're listening, they're gonna be embarrassed. But my sister-in-law is the first one, top of my mind,
Oh,
and I actually, her name is Gonka, and I actually took the opportunity when I was on vacation with her and my brother's family last month. I
hmm
told her it was a moment of slightly lubricated conversation in the pool, but we were connecting and we were talking deeply. And I told her I've always admired her and the way that
hmm
she parents my niece and nephew. She's so good at it. I think she has the right, and this is nothing, it's nothing against my brother. Like he does just as good a job as a father, right? But the
Yeah.
way that she puts up the guardrails, the way that she creates safety, the way that she insists that they try something first.
hmm
You figure it out. And if you can't, then you come to me. And my job is not to do things for you, right? My job is
Yes.
to help you do things. So you try it first. And if you screw it up, then you come ask me. I love that rule that she has, right? Another
Yeah.
and another one that is in my life that does this very same thing is Ling.
Mm,
She's chosen family, right? She's my sister. She's made my husband and I the godparents of her kids, her and her husband Matt. She's an incredible mother. She creates discipline for her kids. She creates that environment where they feel safe, but then also challenged. She
mhm.
loves the shit out of them. She shows
Yeah.
up for them all all the time, all across the board. It's just so great, so endearing to see that, to
Yeah.
see how the both of them choose to mother. And then one other one I'll give, and we lovingly call her Elsbeth, Elizabeth. Her and her partner Corey, they became parents just over a year ago.
Yeah.
Their little Silas is 1 year old, and he like the way like this is a dream come true for her. She's over the moon about being a mother. She posts about it all the time on social media, and it's just so great to see that. Like her
Yeah.
heart, her heart could not be more full in the way that she approaches parenting her son. And so I just love watching it. Like it really does something to me to see the next generation of mothers
Yeah.
be so invested in that role. Like I just love it. I just love it. And their kids, all the kids, they're all the better off for it. So yeah.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah, I can't help but give a major shout out to my sister.
Mm,
She is such a good mom, and she is now in the teen years with my nephew, and also I'm trying to remember if I think my other nephew is almost, I don't think he's a teenager yet. He's
mm,
almost there.
okay.
But what I really love about her is, I mean, for many reasons, love you, Megan, is that
Also, Megan,
she
good luck.
she will take it.
Yeah. Yeah.
She is so involved. She's so dedicated, but also she is still herself. Like the way that she talks to my nephews is the way she talks to anyone. And I think that that's a really special skill that not all moms can do. I think
Yeah.
sometimes it's like, I have to baby you, my little sugar baby, which is, I get it. Like you have like,
Right.
like that cuteness aggression or whatever, like when you're like, oh my god, you're so
Sure. Sure.
cute, I
Sure.
just can't not talk about you like that. But
Hmm.
she like, when my nephews are being silly and dumb about shit, she just gets into it with them. Like
Love
I
it.
think she's so good with her boys. And also extra special shout out not to just her, but all stepmothers, good,
Mm,
great, amazing stepmothers. I think that's a role that is incredibly thankless so often. And, my
so
sister is
can
an
we include
incredible
bonus?
stepmother.
Let's include bonus moms in that as well.
Of course.
It
Yes,
is.
yes.
Yeah. And there's such a. You're right. Sometimes a completely thankless role, but then
Yeah.
also like you are still an important caregiver for that child, regardless of
Yes.
their own relationship with their own mother or if that person is still around. Right. So yeah,
Yes.
you're right. Great. Good call out.
Yeah, just to see her relationship with my nephew, who is my brother-in-law's son from a prior relationship,
Mm,
it's been beautiful to witness. She just has provided a different thing that his mother provides, and I think that's the goal, is that you can work in tandem, hopefully, in the best of
hopefully.
situations,
Right. Yeah.
and know that it's not an affront to that their biological mother to
Hmm.
be a force in their life. But I know that that's really hard, and I know not everybody has the best relationships with their step parents. And
Hmm.
so anyway, when I see it done really well, and when I hear even children mention like, "Oh no, I love my stepmom," I'm like, wow, that's great, because I know that's really hard to
Yeah.
find that. That's a really confusing thing, I think, for a child to have to
Yeah.
be like, "Wait, you're with my dad?" And like, "What?" And I don't there's so
Sure.
many layers, but my sister kills it. So, just have to give her
Nice job,
credit
Megan.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. I love that.
Yeah, and I guess, to wrap up this part of our conversation, what do you feel like are some of the key learnings that you have learned from your own mom growing up? Like, what are,
Whoa.
I guess,
Wow.
I mean, I know that's like saying like, You know, where is the origin? Like, who started life? Like, so it's like, where do
Yeah.
you start? Where do you unpack that? But I guess what comes up for you?
Right. I mean, yeah. It let me scale it a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
So my mother is a retired nurse, and I guess I would call it a privilege, I guess. I got to witness and also help her study. She went back to
Oh,
college when I
wow.
was I think in middle school. I was like maybe 9 or 10, I think, when she started taking classes, and then went part-time because she worked part-time and also was a mom part-time, full-time on top of all that. So health, I think,
Mhm.
and anatomy and physiology and health and hygiene, I think I learned a lot from her because
Mm.
she learned a lot while
Yeah.
she was studying in college. And so those were still very formative years for me. And I feel like helping her study and her imparting knowledge and her integrating like physical health into the role of parent really stuck with me. Like
Mhm.
you know me pretty well, like in terms of, I mean, I'm in the healthcare field, obviously, but also like that is top of mind all the time. What I am
Yeah.
eating, how much I slept, how much caffeine I've taken in, right? When is my next break? Have I peed today? It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. All of the sort of biological functions, right? They are so top of mind. And I have to give her credit for that because
Mm.
if I did not have that influence at such a formative age, I don't know that I would be as healthy as I am at almost 50 years old, right?
Yeah.
So there you go.
That's
That's my
great.
big one. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you? What did Linda teach you?
I mean, geez, what has she not ta yeah. That's so hard. I will say that the thing that I think I have found the most, not the most, but one of the most important things is she has always been an example of work hard, play hard.
Mm,
She and of course, I remember as a kid, there were many times where I would be bummed out because she had to work. She was
mm,
busy working and so she couldn't be at all the school functions like a lot of the other moms could all the time.
sure.
But she definitely did her best when she could. She came to the important stuff, which is always like the most important to me. However, like especially as I've gotten older, I've seen like wow, like not only does she put everything into her work and she loves work or loved working, she's retired now, but, like, I it was important to her to be a career person, and I think to model that for us, that
Mm,
you don't give up all of you when you become a parent, and I feel like my mom was, she was raising us in the '80s and '90s and early aughts, and of course, never stops raising us really, but I think I really learned, like, the importance of watching her then go and have fun with her friends, have fun with, my aunts and uncles. Like she just seemed to really understand that work stays at work and you come home and you live your life.
nice.
And while she definitely was stressed out at her work a lot, like I think everybody is at times, she didn't let that pour over into at least for me. I didn't I felt like she was present in that. So I think
Yeah.
just that duality, seeing that is really important because I think the all or nothing can be very easy to fall into. And she just found a way to hold both things
Yeah.
and to I think do it pretty well. So yeah,
That's
she's
great.
kind of a
Yeah.
badass. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. So now that we've talked about mothers in our lives and the wonderful, amazing complicated things that they endure and that we've experienced with them. I also thought it'd be fun to talk about the pop culture rise of the term mother. And of course, this is not a new phrase. This has been around for a while. And I know for some people might be
Right.
like, yeah, it's been around for the last 10 years. That's incorrect. If you really look at a lot of the popular lexicon that gets out there, the things that
Hmm.
really take off, the things you see all over TikTok and social media, these are things that often come from queer and black and brown communities. And
Mm,
this is one of those for sure. So, to give a little context to the term mother, is that it primarily was originated as slang in ballroom culture of New York City, particularly among Black and Latin queer communities. And again,
Right.
ballroom culture is basically it's drag, it's performance, it's elevated, just fabulosity. and
Mhm.
and and I know that there's so much more to that, but
Which,
what were
if
you gonna
if
say?
anyone is interested in a primer on this, the movie Paris is Burning
Oh.
is about this particular, uh, time and space in
Oh.
New York City, in actually the Harlem neighborhood centered around the queer Black communities.
Oh,
So
cool.
there's it's super cool. Yeah, I just thought I would kinda bring that in there. So it's called Paris is Burning. Check it out if you're interested in more about this. Like, it's
Thanks, yeah.
fascinating, and it's such a good movie. Yeah.
Great, yeah. So this was in the 1970s through the 80s when this really started coming up, and a part of the ballroom scene are houses because many LGBTQ plus youth were ostracized by their biological families. They formed houses such as like the House of LaBeija. I'm sorry, probably, and there's like the House of Extravaganza, but it's spelled like all cool.
Sure, sure, sure.
And so anyway, a part of these houses would be the house mother. The leader of the
Mhm.
house was called the mother, and she served as a mentor, provider, and protector, helping her children navigate life and prepare for ballroom competitions. And basically, to be called mother was a mark of high respect and legendary status within the community. It wasn't just about an aesthetic, it was truly about the labor of caring for a chosen family, which, I mean, I just,
Mhm.
several standing ovations for that. Like,
Right.
powerful. Some linguists trace queer usage even further back to Polari, a secret coded language used by gay men in the UK. And in the 1720s, Margaret Clapp ran a Molly House, also known as a meeting place for gay men in London. And she was
Mm.
affectionately known as Mother Clapp because she provided a safe space and even testified in court to protect her children from prosecution. I mean, if that's not
Yep.
mother, well, I don't know what is.
Yeah. And that, I mean, that extended also into more modern history with women who would run essentially like hospices for gay
Mhm.
men in the 80s and 90s
Oh,
who were
yeah.
dying of AIDS, right? And they became the mothers of those houses because, again, we were
Yeah.
ostracized and didn't have, healthcare, didn't understand. And so, yeah, so it continued, and it just, I mean, obviously it continues to modern day
Yes.
as well, but
Yes. But
yeah, that's
like it
another
truly
extension of it.
in the
Yeah.
most life-saving of ways,
Right.
and, I
Right.
mean, still is, but, like, at some of the most crucial, terrifying parts of our history,
Right.
these people have been able to reach that kind of status and be those kind of people to the most, uh, I guess, endangered people, and that is
Sure.
always, like, I think, so admirable.
Mhm.
So, of course, then in the early 2020s, the term migrated from ballroom and drag circles to mainstream internet stan culture, which, again, if anybody doesn't know, stan culture comes from the Eminem song. Is it called Stan? God, that's how I am so out of touch. I feel so
It's
embarrassed
been a
to be a
minute.
millennial right now. Yes, I believe it is.
It's okay.
Anyway,
Yeah.
yes. Basically, the song is about a fan that's obsessed with him, and so people like if you hear people go like, "Oh, I stand," like I'm like, "I
It
stand
is.
Taylor
It's called
Swift."
it's called
Yeah,
Stan. Yeah. Yeah.
thank you. I was like,
I
"It's with
just looked it up.
Dido. It's a
Yeah.
great song." Anyway, that then shifted to the verb. While you could say, mother, there also is mother is mothering. Like a lot of times they'll be like, "Ooh, she is mothering." Like, it's
Mm,
kind of just this, it's over the top, but it's also like, I'm calling you out for being a badass, like for being that in the best way, that bitch in the most empowered way possible.
right. You are iconic. You are taking it to the nth level. Like, you are showing up, right, and performing
Yes.
to the highest degree. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yes, and, Lady Gaga is famously known as Mother Monster to her little
Mhm.
monsters, which are her fans. That's the name of her fan base, and,
Mhm.
I mean, Lady Gaga has been a major force in bridging, I think, queer drag culture and mainstream media. I mean, it's just amazing, and she constantly gives, I think, her flowers to that community. And it's really cool how like important that she has been to the adoption of that language.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I think what was important to it is I think that it's super common for these terms when they become mainstream to not necessarily get the credit they deserve. And this is definitely one of those where, things such as chosen families and basically, calling people mother can be forgotten that these come from populations that are not the mainstream white culture, heterosexual culture, cisgender
Yeah.
culture.
Yeah.
And to me, that is so important to recognize because it's just another sign of how diversity makes us always
Better,
better,
stronger,
stronger. Like we would
whatever, all the things.
suck.
Yeah.
God, I mean, Jesus. You know what? I guarantee I would almost bet if I had $1,000,000, I would almost bet that it was absolutely not a queer black or brown person that came up with "What's up?"
I mean, maybe.
Maybe, but I don't
But we
think
don't know.
so. We
Yeah.
don't know. You know
We
what? And
don't.
I apologize if by chance
Yeah.
the person or people who came up with that happens to be brown, black, or queer. I am so sorry, and I will rescind that. But until I hear otherwise, I'm going to assume it was probably a white dude. Anyway, not that there's anything wrong with white dudes necessarily, but there's also a lot of things wrong with white dudes. As a white dude, I can say that. Anyway, in saying all this in this silly conversation we're having, Jason, we've talked about, some of the best mothers that you've been around involving the classic phrase and definition of mothers. Who are some of your favorite mothers?
Man, this is a hard question.
Yeah, that's why I
I
asked
feel
that.
like I know. Yeah, I know. I feel like as a gay man, so I'm not gonna answer your question, but then I'm gonna answer it. As
Okay.
a gay man, I feel this strange pressure to identify with like female icons and
Yeah.
to like deify them and turn them into this type of role or something. And it's just never been an impulse I feel like I've had. I've
Yeah.
never had a, I've never really had a Cher or a Kylie or a Madonna or like, I've never really gone like, oh my gosh, she is my, maybe J-Lo, like that's as close as I've gotten with like, these sort of music icons, like you were talking about Lady
Mhm.
Gaga and whatnot. I don't know why I don't bring them, like the word mother doesn't come into it for me, but the way that I'm going to answer this question is I have always identified with that female nurturing energy that we've
Hmm.
been talking about.
Yeah.
And so whenever I see that, it resonates in me. Whenever I see
Yeah.
somebody performing it, whenever I see somebody even elevated to mother icon status, like
Yeah.
there's something resonant about that role and the expectations and the energy and the whatever where I go, yeah, I can
Yeah.
also own some of that too. And so I don't walk around calling myself Mother Jason and think that I'm some sort of icon. Like that's not where I'm going with this.
Right. Right.
But what does resonate with me is like, can I be that role model? Can I take
Yeah.
care of the people around me? Right? Can I be the adult in the room? Can I love on somebody? And it looks, I think, from the outside very much as like, oh, he's being a decent human, or he's being a good uncle, or he's being doesn't matter. For me,
Yeah.
the connection is to that female nurturing energy that I think we bundle with the role of mother.
Yes.
And that to me is how I connect to it. And that's how it kind of lives in my world.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I
I'm
don't know
not
that I
surprised to
have
hear
like
that
a
from you.
okay, sure. Yeah. Okay, good. I'm glad.
No. No.
It
No. No.
was a
No. Yeah.
difficult. What I sort of knew it was coming, but I didn't want to prepare the answer. And then I'm like, I don't know if I can answer this. And so
Way to
now it's
go,
in my lap, and I'm
Jason.
going, here it is. But that's truly from my heart. That's how I connect to
I
that.
know. Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
there it is. Yeah. What
Yeah.
about you? You
Yeah.
have
I
I
mean,
mean, I know you. I mean,
I have
I
a
know you.
million, but also
Yes. Yeah.
like, I mean, in
Yeah.
terms of like my own like personal mothers, but also people who are some of my favorite mothers in
Mm-hmm.
that way.
Mm-hmm.
To me, like when I think about who I believe really embodies the spirit and badassery of a
Mm-hmm.
mother is someone like Cher. I think Cher she's a survivor. She is badass. She's smart. She's
Mm.
talented. She is over the top. I mean, she gives zero fucks, but she is protective of those that
Yeah.
she loves and that love her. Like I was lucky enough that my mom and I got to see Cher on her Believe tour when that's late 90s, and it was
Good
and
Lord.
also her opener, Cyndi Lauper. Oh, it was such a great show. It was such a
Wow. Yeah,
phenomenal
that's
show.
incredible. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, like anybody who's around during that time, I mean, Believe was that song that eventually became the song that people were like, oh my God, I'm so tired of hearing Believe. But like, I have such fond feelings about that album and that song. I think that she has always been such a front and center ally
Mm.
of the queer culture. And she's an advocate for things that really matter. And she also just goes by the beat of her own drum. I feel like that's such an important piece of like a mother is that they go against the grain. They make their own paths and they do it their way, but they bring people along for the ride.
I'm just thinking about that. I wonder if that is one of the I'm bringing it back to mental health. I wonder if that is one of the challenges that modern day mothers feel is that they have to put their stamp on the role of mother,
Mm-hmm.
but then also there's all of these pressures and expectations and history and everything that goes into it on a daily basis. Like, do I also have to perform mother
Mm, mm,
as well as be mother
yeah.
in order to be ultimately respected or ultimately looked up to or ultimately, and I don't want to, I think what I don't want any mothers listening to listening to this to walk away with is that you have to,
No. No, no, no,
right?
no,
Like,
no.
and I don't know, I don't think that's the intention. I don't think that's where you're
No,
going
but I
with it or
appreciate you saying
where
that. Yeah.
yeah, like it really is just about showing up and loving on the children that you are the mother to, like,
Yeah.
or the people that you are the mother to, right? You don't have to
Yes.
be an icon to be respected and looked up to. So I don't know. That came to mind. I wanted to toss that in there.
Ladies and gentlemen, our wet blanket Jesus.
God damn
No,
it.
really, no, what I was gonna add to that was just that I feel like what mothers talk about or what they
Mm,
embody that I think all mothers can do is that they are individually leaning into their strengths
mm.
and they aren't shrinking themselves. And
Ooh,
I think
okay,
that
there we
that's
go.
something that all
Yeah,
mothers you don't have to be this, like, icon at that level, but, like,
right.
be you, be all you, and you will have people who are gonna cheer you on. Like, there's
Yep,
nothing
yep.
more enticing and respectable than authenticity at the most empowering level.
I'm gonna call out Ling again because
Yeah.
this is something she is really, really good at. Ling is, and I think it's part of the reason that I love her and she loves me. She is so authentically herself
Mhm.
all the time. She is the mom on the sidelines at the soccer match. She's the one you hear.
Yeah.
Ling, there's zero shade in this. You are the one everybody hears, and we love you for it. I don't give a shit if the other team doesn't love you for it. I love you for it,
Yes.
and so does everybody else on our side. We love hearing you cheer for Henry and even Bella whenever she's doing her things. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, Ling is that person. She's incredible that way. She's so authentic.
That then made me think of I think that's another one of my favorite traits of my favorite mothers of all types
Mm,
is that ferocity of
mm,
that, I will be a tiger and
hmm.
I will I will take you down if you try to fuck with the
She also has
kids
that.
or
Yep.
the thing. Yes. And so like when you were
Yeah.
talking about that, when I see those moms out there that are like on whether it's soccer field or in the baseball stands or whatever, and they are like so in it, it's because they're just like, that's my kid, like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that is such a like ferocious, beautiful, cool thing. Like that's just
Hmm.
beautiful. I love it.
Yeah.
Ah, awesome. I've enjoyed this conversation so much. So,
Yeah. Me too.
Jason, tell me what do you hope our listeners not just our mothers, but definitely for them. But what do you hope that people take away from these conversations that we've had today?
I'm going to encapsulate like what being more like a mother, like for anybody listening, right? You don't have to have a uterus. You don't have to have
Right.
birth to children to put mother energy out into the world, right? You don't
Yes.
even, you can also be one of those terrible Scooby-Doo villains that Sean keeps impersonating. You could say, you can still be a mother in that. So it's really just about what I think it is about is it's making another creature's needs as
Mhm.
important as your own, right?
Mm,
Understanding where they're at developmentally, knowing that they're going to have different needs, and then also elevating those needs to the same level as your own needs and helping that newly found creature who's wandering around the world, helping those needs get met. Like to me,
yeah.
that is the essence of it, right? Is elevating
Yes.
those needs to as high as your own. So that's what I hope people, anybody listening, anybody who wants to put more mother energy out into the world, I think that's what you need to do. And not for nothing, but I'm gonna just harken it back also to Black and Latinx communities about how we do them a disservice by not honoring them for what they contribute and how they contribute. And
Yes.
I think, and I'm not even gonna say I think, I know that this is at least part of the solution. We have to stop vilifying those communities
Yes.
in order to honor them.
Yeah.
We we can't both not want to be that, not see the good in those communities and what they do for us as a whole, and also honor them
Yeah.
at the same time. We have to be able to say, I love that. I wish I could be that. I know I can't be that, but here's the place for that in our world,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
I know that's not really about mothering, but
But
also
it's
like
part of the
that
conversation we've
is
had today for
it is
sure.
it's part
Yeah.
of the conversation today. So that's what I hope people walk away with, right? Is if we
Yeah.
really do want to create more space and more healing and reduce this rift and division that we have to start going, that is incredible. That is not me, but that is incredible. And I know there's a space for it. And here's the space I'm making.
Yeah.
So that's what I want people to
Yeah.
walk away with.
I love it. No,
Yeah.
that's what this is all
Yeah.
about. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I think my takeaway is for mothers to remember to choose themselves and especially
Mm,
remember this. This is something that I say to the moms I work with all the time. And they're aware of this, but I think it's how we say it is important, which is remember that your kids are watching you all the time. You are modeling for them all the time. And while that usually feels like the pressure of I have to be perfect, what you're
mm,
actually, if you're doing it in the most authentic way, in the most wholehearted way, let them watch you be a whole person. Do
yeah.
not let them forget that you are a whole multidimensional person. They do not
Yep.
need to just see caretaker and
Right.
saver of the day. They need to see you as a person because that shows them when they get older, especially those who choose to become parents, that you don't just disappear when you have kids. I know that that's part of the reason I feel like my parents did a great job at never letting go of the things that mattered to them, even though they were
Mm,
still super incredible, committed parents to my sister and I. So,
yeah.
anyway, that's my takeaway.
I love that. That's it, to allow your children to see you struggle, I think
Yeah.
is such an important and
Don't hide that from
forgotten
them.
lesson. When the mandate is we have to protect and provide.
Oof. Yeah.
Part of providing is showing children that this is a real human experience, right?
Yes.
Parents hurt, parents grieve, parents lose, and then they pick themselves up and they heal and they get help and they collaborate and all those human lessons, the ones that are even
Yes.
the most painful, those are the ones that I think they're the most important. I know that that's half the reason that I got into mental health, because I
Mhm.
know that there were deficits in my own family environment where I
Yep.
didn't get to see a lot of those lessons. And I just knew that I had stuff to overcome, that I had to learn
Mhm.
so that I could hopefully be a healthier, more functional adult. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Secret questions.
I
Jason.
have been literally on pins and needles
Are
for
you
this
chomping
part
at the
because
bit?
I have a really, really good one. And I'm really toying with, do I let you get out of it or not?
Oh,
I have a backup, but I'm going to ask the
do my
spicy
best
one
to
first.
commit. I will do my best to
Okay.
commit.
All right. And I'm going to say, Linda, if you're listening, you might have to turn this part off.
Oh, no.
Here it is. Here's the question.
I
Sean,
might have to back down if you're saying that.
What is something you have done that your mother absolutely cannot know about?
Oh, God.
And how confident are you that she doesn't know? But that's the second part.
I can't. I'm sorry. I can't.
Okay,
I can't.
see, I knew it.
No, because I know well, I think she's behind right now, so she would get to it probably this summer. But also, I also have to remember, like, also all the other mother figures are listening who love me, so I don't need them to be like, oh.
Okay,
well,
all
are
right.
you going to answer that? I mean,
I
you'll have to.
I didn't consider that because it's not my week to answer, but
we do sometimes do that where we go, well, what
you're
would
right.
you say?
You're right.
So,
all right, here's the backup.
Okay, thank you, Jesus.
What is the most not in this house thing that you do regularly in your own house?
Oh.
So the way that I took this question is what is it that you were told never to do in your parents' house that now that you're an adult, you can do it? Or is there a rule that you have for guests maybe that you're like, well, this is my house, so I can do that. It doesn't matter. My guests can't do that, but I can.
I never have ever thought about this, I don't think. Or knowingly.
Okay.
Yeah.
There wasn't like some rule that you grew up with in your parents' house where you were like, oh, I can't wait till I'm an adult and I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to have ice cream for breakfast. Yeah, whatever the.
So this is just the first thing that comes to me, so I'm just going to go with it. I will say this. So I do live on my own, and part of what I love about that is the quiet, which I know is a lot. I'm a loud person, but Jesus fucking Christ, my family in the mornings, I will tell you this. It was like 6 a.m. would get going, and my parents were just blasting music in the kitchen on the CD player and doing their thing, bebopping around, and like they would have all the lights on. They have all the lights on. So
just
I would
literally
literally
come
out and I'd be like a little demon coming out of his little demon cave. And like, every day I'd be like, be quiet, it's so bright. Like, oh, I froze again. Oh,
it's okay. It's coming back.
I know, but it was a weird freeze. And like, anyway, so I will
say, knowing how little of a morning person you are,
you know this. I say this all the time. It's not that I'm not a morning person. I like to. It's like I'm entering. I'm sorry. I'm going to say it. You're emerging from the womb. Birth canal of the day and entering the world. And I want a gentle birth every day. And so when it doesn't go that way, I feel so disoriented. I feel discombobulated. And yes, my family just did not give a shit about being overly stimulating in the morning. So now I'm like, yes. But at the same time, I look back at the memories of the music they played and things like that. And I'm like, yes, I have like warm feelings about it, but Jesus, it felt like a circus in the mornings and the animals are running around. And it was just, my dad would be like, I mean, it was just, anyway. So that's my answer there.
It is one thing that I do appreciate about my marriage is that my husband and I both appreciate a slow, quiet morning to like get things going. So the first hour of the day is, if there's music, it's very soft sort of background music and the lights are low and we're not talking to each other until we're both similar levels of caffeinated and right. Like it's just very, it's very,
there's a conscientiousness.
There is. But then also when he gets ready to go to work, he goes into the bathroom and he shuts the door and he turns the music on and it's 2000s pop and it's jamming and like I can kind of hear it from the, but it's fine. Like that's how he gets ready for the day. So that's great.
Yeah. Awesome. So my question to you, I wasn't trying to shame you with any of your questions that I came up for you. or embarrass you.
Okay.
So my question is, if you were a mother, what kind of mother do you think you would be? Like, what are the things that you would do in raising a kid if that was like you gave birth and this was like you had those maternal expectations that,
Yeah.
give her, like it or lump it, unfortunately fall on mothers for so many different reasons. But yeah, like when you think about like what do you imagine like if you were a mother? Like what kind of parent, mother you would be?
So, yeah, I think one that is like all in
Hmm.
and really striving to be excellent in that role, but I would probably take it to the point where I would end up putting my foot in my mouth from time to time, where I would be like standing up for my kid in the
Hmm.
principal's office, and then I would be the one that would end up being embarrassed because I didn't understand the situation correctly, or I spoke out of turn, or like I know
Kind of
that
like
there's a
blind
fight.
loyalty.
Yes, exactly. Like there's a
Yeah.
fire in me, and there's a there's not a lot of things that get me riled up, but injustice is one of them.
Mhm.
And I think if I felt some sort of injustice against my child, it's over for whoever that person is. Whoever I choose to point that fire at, it's over for them. I'm burning them to the ground, scorching the earth underneath them. And then I'm going to have to put my foot in my mouth at some point because, whatever. I misunderstood. Like, there's not many situations that warrant all of that. But I think that
Yeah.
would be the person I think that would be the mother that I would be, is the one that would end up having to eat her words from time to time because of the
Yeah.
fierce love that I
Yeah.
have for my child and their eventual success in the world and, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great,
That's a
great,
fun
great
question.
answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
welcome. Yeah. All right. We're at shout outs. What is
Yeah.
your shout out of the week,
Yeah.
Jason?
This one is easy for me. And this comes from my own relationship, my estranged relationship with my own mother. Um, the thing that I really just wanted to call out was, this is like, I know Mother's Day is a celebration, and it's not always easy for people.
Yeah,
Not everyone
very.
has the best relationship with their mother. Not everyone has a mother. Sometimes they've lost
Mhm.
one. Sometimes they,
Mhm.
never knew one. And sometimes Mother's Day is hard for mothers because they don't
Oh,
have
yeah.
relationships with their kids, right? And so
Yeah.
I just want to just be sensitive to that. Like, we have
Mhm.
celebrated and talked about the history and exalted mothers to the status that they deserve, and it's not the easiest holiday for everybody. So my shout out is for all of the people who need that camaraderie, need that understanding this holiday. I see you, I love you, and I'm there with you.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I
Yeah.
love that. Thank you for
Thanks.
saying that
Thanks.
and
Yeah.
and for honoring every single person you mentioned and saying that because that is such a nuanced point that I never ever want to get lost. And
Yeah.
so
For sure.
thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh my shout out is uh, speaking of mothers, and some of my favorite mothers at the moment are Meryl Streep, Anne Hathaway, Emily Blunt, and honorary mother Stanley Tucci, and that is
Ah!
the Devil Wears Prada 2.
Yep.
I just got to see it, and I loved it so much.
Oh my
And
gosh, that's so great.
what I've seen written about it, which is my experience as well, is that this is a movie that made sure to prove why it exists on its own merit. Like, I think
Mm,
that's an important thing about sequels is that if you don't make a sequel that feels warranted or like why are we doing this? If it feels just like a rehash of what you just
yeah.
saw, like, as they say, reheated nachos or something, like it feels kind of like, okay, that's nice, but it's just kind of like nostalgia porn, basically. But
Right, right.
it was it actually says so many important things about where we're at in society with
Mm.
technology, with journalism and papers, but also about aging and evolution of
Oh,
self,
nice.
and also like the love of the work and not wanting to give up on things you fiercely love.
Yeah.
And this is all in just a fun, frothy, beautifully shot. I will say this, it's one of the first times in a long time that I feel like I saw New York in a way I haven't. That was
Really?
yes, the shots of the scenery, of all of the skyline, like, it was shot in a way where I was like, "I feel like I haven't seen New York like this before." And
Huh.
it was fun, it was an escape, but it also felt like it was based in something real, and I could just
Wow.
tell that they loved making this movie, and I hope it makes a gazillion dollars, and I love, love, love the original. I saw the original when it first came out on the first day it came out, and I did it with this too, and I just yeah, my heart is just so overfilled with, like, joy over this film and what they did with it, knowing that it was gonna be such a high wire act to pull off, and they did it, and, I mean, Meryl Streep is just and Anne Hathaway, man, like, I just will say this, Anne Hathaway is really this I mean, she was the central focus of the first one too, but, like,
Mhm.
what they I think that's the other part that I really wanna reiterate that again is they didn't allow the characters to stay stuck 20 years ago. You are
Nice.
seeing 20 years later the things they've weathered, the things they've learned show up in their characters now. And of course, as a therapist, the mental health, like, dynamics
Yeah.
of that, I'm just like, mwah, like, I loved it. So please, 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 if you love a great, fun, glamorous the fashion. Anne Hathaway, I mean, she's seriously one of the most stunning women. I mean, there's so many times in this movie where I'm just like, "Jesus Christ, you are a goddess." Like, holy crap. I mean, anyway, Devil Wears Prada 2, if you love that kind of movie, like what I just described, go for it, love it. Take your friends, take your mom, and,
Yeah.
enjoy.
Awesome.
All right, let's
Whew.
land this plane. So, thank you everybody for taking the time to listen today. We want to remind everybody that you can find us on YouTube at Collect Your Thoughts. You can
Mm.
find us on Instagram at Collect Your Thoughts Podcast. And you can always go to www.bennetvillecounseling.com to find out a little bit more about Bennettville Counseling Collective, which is where we come from, which is part of the reason we are Collect Your Thoughts. So, anyway, in saying all that, we wish each and every one of you, especially you, mom, I love you so much, a fantastic Mother's Day, whatever that looks like for you, and for it to meet the moment you're at. And to always remember to take a deep breath and
Collect your thoughts.
thank you guys. Have a great day. See you next time.
Thanks.